This in-service animation has been prepared to assist you with the correct implantation technique of the Codman CereLink ICP sensor plastic skull bolt kit. This animation is not intended to replace the product inserts. Rather, it is to be used along with the product inserts as a training aid. Please refer to the product inserts and read the sections on contraindications, warnings, and cautions. The plastic skull bolt kit is designed for subdural and intraparenchymal pressure monitoring. Before getting started, you will need the following items to complete the procedure: cranial access kit, the CereLink ICP monitor, the CereLink power cable, the CereLink ICP sensor extension cable that allows connection to the ICP sensor, Codman CereLink ICP sensor plastic skull bolt kit. 1. Zeroing of the ICP sensor. The ICP sensor must be zeroed to atmospheric pressure prior to implantation. First, switch on the monitor. Connect the ICP extension cable to the yellow connector on the CereLink. The extension cable connector tab and arrows should face forward, in the same direction as the CereLink screen. Push the yellow connector into the yellow port until you hear a click. If you need to disconnect it at any time, this connection uses a pullback release mechanism and not a twist lock. Whilst maintaining a sterile technique, connect the ICP sensor to the ICP extension cable. Once the sensor is connected, the CereLink monitor will play a sound and will also display a 0 symbol. Press the Home tab on the CereLink monitor. Then press the 0 sensor tab on the CereLink monitor. Using sterile technique, lay at least a 5 cm section of the sensor horizontally just under the surface of the sterile water or sterile saline. Do not submerge the tip of the ICP sensor vertically in a deep pool of sterile water or sterile saline. Doing this will impose a hydrostatic pressure on the ICP sensor diaphragm that is higher than atmospheric pressure, resulting in an inaccurate 0 reference. Hold the sensor still without applying any external pressure to the tip apart from the sterile saline. If the device senses the sensor is moving, a 0 button will not be available. Press the Ready to Zero tab. You will note a 0 in progress on the screen. When sensor zeroing has been successful, the date and time will be displayed on the screen. During this zeroing process, the ICP monitor automatically stores the 0 reference value in a memory element embedded in the ICP sensor. This feature allows the user to reconnect the ICP sensor to the same or a different ICP monitor without having to readjust the 0 reference value. Press the Accept button on the lower right portion of the screen to return to the main screen. Now the ICP sensor is ready for implantation. 2. Preparation for sensor implantation. Codman's Cranial Access Kit includes all the necessary components to create the initial access hole for ICP monitoring. When making the initial access hole using an aseptic technique, begin by hair clipping, prepping, and draping the patient. Make the necessary incision and retract the scalp to expose the skull. Please note that the 5.8 mm drill bit is not included in the ICP plastic skull bolt kit. This drill bit will need to be purchased separately or is included in the Codman Cranial Access Kit. Now select the 5.8 mm drill bit for subdural and intraparenchymal procedures. Place the bit into the chuck, then hold the drill handle in place and turn the chuck counterclockwise to tighten the bit. Next, loosen the drill depth guide with the appropriate hex wrench and carefully slide the drill guide towards the tip of the bit until the desired skull depth is reached. It is important to note that the drill guide will not stop the drill. It is designed only to provide the neurosurgeon with a marker for drilling depth. Finally, tighten the drill guide in place with a hex wrench and begin drilling. Open the dura with an appropriate needle or blade. 3. Sensor implantation. The CereLink ICP sensor plastic skull bolt kit consists of an intracranial pressure ICP sensor with a TUI-Borst adapter mounted on the catheter, one adult and one pediatric skull bolt with spacing washers, and a disposable ICP screw handle for facilitating bolt removal. Select the adult or pediatric bolt. If desired, adjust the seating depth of the plastic bolt using the spacing washers provided. Position spacing washers prior to insertion of the bolt. The range of adjustment available to the surgeon is adult 5.0 mm to 10 mm, pediatric 3.5 mm to 5 mm. Warning: do not remove the thrust washer and sealing washer that are pre-assembled on the skull bolt, as this can result in a fracture of the device or in an inadequate seal between the washer and the skull. Note: do not remove the obturator from the skull bolt. Put the plastic skull bolt into position and place the screw handle on top of the bolt. Turn the screw handle clockwise manually into the prepared drill hole until the spacing washer beneath the screw flange rests close against the outer table of the skull. Remove the screw handle. Remove the obturator from the positioned plastic skull bolt. Irrigate the channel with non-bacteriostatic, preservative-free sterile saline. Loosen the TUI-Borst adapter from the ICP sensor by twisting the blue adapter counterclockwise. Guide the ICP sensor through the bolt until the tip is in the subdural or parenchymal space, using the depth markers on the sensor as guidance. Slide the TUI-Borst adapter down the ICP sensor until you reach the implanted plastic bolt. Screw the TUI-Borst adapter onto the plastic bolt. Turn the blue adapter clockwise to secure. Remove the retractor and close the skin incision in one layer using interrupted sutures. Apply appropriate dressing to the wound site. Attach any off-the-shelf ECG electrode to the patient per ECG electrode's instructions for use. ECG electrodes should be applied only to intact, clean skin. For example, not over open wounds, lesions, infected or inflamed areas. Attach the patient lead of the extension cable connector to the ECG electrode. Secure the patient lead of the extension cable to prevent tension on the ECG electrode. Precaution: the patient lead of the extension cable must always be attached to the patient via an ECG electrode to ensure reliable performance of the sensor. 4. Removal of the bolt kit. Carefully withdraw the ICP sensor from the bolt assembly. Check that the sensor is complete on removal. Remove the dressing around the bolt and 1 or 2 sutures closest to the bolt. Using the sterile screw handle provided, turn the screw counterclockwise until free. Caution: make certain that all the washers have been removed from the incision area before closing. Apply pressure with sterile gauze until hemostasis is achieved. Close the incision again in one layer with uninterrupted sutures. Apply a dry, sterile dressing.